A group of washout students are isolated in a remote classroom, given the command to defeat an unbeatable teacher within a given time frame, or everyone will die. What's the anime? Now, a majority of you would have said Assassination Classroom, while others may have suspected it was a bit too obvious and tried to come up with something else, with only a niche group of people guessing right and saying Spy Classroom. But in the end, it is kind of a trick question, as this is a plot of both of those anime. So, in other words, Spy Classroom is a modern-day Assassination Classroom. I know it's a big claim to make, considering Assassination Classroom got me into anime. It was one of my all-time favourites, but that is the reason I adore Spy Classroom so much. But don't worry, it does have a backbone to stand on its own. And let me explain how and why I consider it to be the modern-day Assassination Classroom.
地獄に落ちな, baby.
Spy Classroom, or what some people call Spy Room, is a light novel series written by Takemachi and illustrated by Tamari. Now, the premise I mentioned earlier does summarise the series very well, however I will dive a little deeper. And yeah, we will primarily be focusing on the light novel over the anime here, but I will bring attention to it later on. Basically, the people in this world concluded war consumes too many resources and causes too many casualties. Well, obviously. So Spy Wars became a thing. Spies fought in the shadows to keep a nation's peace. Enter the Galgad Empire. They pose the biggest threat to most of the nations. One of those being the Din Republic, where the main cast resides. Both share a similar culture and language, which allows for easier espionage in the Empire for Republican spies. Therefore, Din sells secrets he obtained from the Empire to stay rich, and also to stay friendly with the neighbouring countries. Fast forward to the beginning of our story. The elite team known as Inferno, who are tasked to overcome impossible missions, basically missions that have like a 99% chance of failure, ended up failing with one surviving member due to him not being present at the time. So this guy is tasked to complete the impossible mission. How does he plan on doing this? Well, by recruiting a harem of 7 girls and officially naming them Lamplight, of course. Lily, codenamed Flower Garden, the total package. A huge klutz, which seems suitable considering she's then voiced by Aqua's voice actor from Konosuba, Sora Amamiya. A big bosom, which is emphasized constantly within the novel. Leader in name only of Lamplight, and a poison master so she can silently, but sweetly, kill you to further her own means. Ahem, ahem. Sarah, codename Meadow, a timid but sweet girl, one of the youngest of the bunch. She is skilled with animals and uses many of them for their missions. One of the main ones being a bird named Bernard, who feels like they have more presence and screen time than poor Sarah in 4 volumes. Ahem, ahem. Grete, codenamed Daughter Dearest, master of disguises, who can copy even the pitch of someone's voice. Oh, I forgot to mention, the girl's special powers border on superpowers, so many of the fights or missions can sometimes feel like they come out of a freaking shonen. Grete constantly fronts a mask and takes a large commanding role of the team usually. She has a big crush on Klaus and refuses to call him anything but boss. I've never seen a girl come off any stronger. The epitome of my suffering. AKA, it's insufferable to see. Ahem, ahem. Syllaba, codenamed Pandemonium. Superpower, stealing. Yep, can steal anything without people realizing. Daughter of a criminal and is super nice and generous and calls for the children and will do anything for the children. Oh yeah, she's also the best cook of the group. Ahem, ahem. Monica, codenamed Glyn. Not to be confused with Syllaba. I swear to God they could pass for twins. She is the edgy one of the group and tries to pick a fight with literally everyone. The only person she respects, at least in the beginning, is Klaus due to him being stronger than her. She also has a crush on one of the girls, which is kinda cute, and she has a knack for being a huge tsundere, oftentimes hiding how much she cares for Lamplight while helping on the sidelines. Oh yeah, her superpower. I almost forgot to mention it. Let's see. It's precision projectile aiming. AKA, she beats her enemies using the power of mass. AKA, being a mass nerd officially makes you strong. I guess I know where I went wrong in my life. Well, I'll be damned. Ahem, ahem. Thea, codenamed Dreamspeaker, the unspoken leader of the group and also the motherly figure. She takes care of the younger members, Erna, Annette and Sarah, and she idolizes the former leader of Inferno, Herf. Like, to an seriously unhealthy degree. Her superpower? It's knowing what a person desires if she can lock eye contact with someone for 3 whole seconds. They aren't even trying to stay realistic anymore, are they? How that comes from skill and training, I'll never know. She's supposedly a big empath and wants to be a Miyashiro. I mean, she wants to be a hero like her. But the most glaring fact about her, and the easiest way to sum her up, is a habit of seducing all men. I don't know why, but it is canon that to get everything she wanted in life, she just slept with men and she got it. Now, this already seems a bit weird, and the legality of this is questionable if she uses her powers. I mean skill. But honestly, the funniest thing is, the reason she became a washout in the first place is because she slept with her teacher, who found out she slept with like every other fucking teacher, and he was like, fuck, I know I'm cheating on my wife, but a high schooler cheating on me? Now that's where I draw the line. And just like that, he told the head and she became a washout. Honestly, it has to be the best reason to get kicked out. Ahem, ahem. Annette, codename Forgetter. The wacky inventor girl who blows up rooms and other stuff for a living.
どう考えてもお前のせいなの
She apparently has amnesia and the rest of the group basically sees her as a lunatic trapped in a little girl's body. I won't mention too much about Annette though, she seems to be the fan favourite and she has a dark and cynical side to her that doesn't first meet the eye. Unless you were Klaus, who knew straight away. The approach they took with her character development in Volume 3 is quite unsettling but unique and enjoyable. Really boosted up my ratings for her, honestly. Her character development though is a story for another day, as I would like to refrain from spoiling too much. Let's just say Fia looked at Annette's deepest desires and the thing she wished for the most was to be taller. Ahem, ahem. Erna, codename Fool. A very mysterious character who has the fortunate luck to have misfortune as her superpower. Erna can smell danger from a mile away and can even send people to their deathbeds with this, or save many innocent people from their timely deathbeds. However, it does make you wonder what came first, the misfortune or Erna herself. The most antisocial and shy member of the group who just wishes to be friends with everyone, but she faced rejection due to her unluckiness. Eventually though, she becomes the little sister of the group and the old teaser, and it's just so damn wholesome. In charge of this ragtag team of 7 is none other than Klaus, the greatest spy in the entire world, mentioned way too often in the text, codename Bonfire, among many others. He borderlines on inhuman and is only 1/10 slower than his former master Guido. How this is even possible, I don't know, considering the feats this dude pulls off anyway. He is very unemotive and unintelligent, basically relying entirely on instinct, and so fails at teaching the girls sufficiently, except one idea popping into his mind. Please, kill me so you will get good. After a failed assassination attempt. The girls obviously are frightened for their lives when they realise they are pretty much being sent to their imminent death and at having a clueless pretty boy as their teacher. And they won out. However, as you may have guessed, they eventually change their minds as they get to know each other more and wish to protect their daily lives and spy training. Which means they get used to hearing one certain phrase. How much longer shall I keep on playing along with this game? The moment right before Klaus uses his cheat codes to completely wipe the floor with the spy newbies. And that is where a lot of the fun from Spy Classroom comes from. These elaborate schemes each one of the girls comes up with to finally get Klaus to admit defeat, even if he could die else. It is like taking that one arc from Assassination Classroom where they go all out to defeat Koro-sensei, but end up failing anyway, and turn that into an entire premise for an anime. It's a lot more entertaining than you would think, especially with the stupidity that sometimes comes from the other top powers. There was literally a moment in the novel where Monica, in mere seconds, calculates the precise trajectories she needs to hit with a gun to hit her target while also constantly running and not having time to look back. Or heck, there is even Lily who comes up with new poisons like every day to use against Klaus or her enemies, which she is kind of a klutz, so she often forgets the antidote and hee upsie daisy, sorry my friend, but I think I accidentally committed manslaughter. Spy Classroom has many differences though when you compare it to Assassination Classroom. Firstly, it is definitely darker for a number of reasons. Even if you don't want to consider the deaths of thousands of people, you have painstakingly detailed descriptions of murder and some descriptions of torture. While Assassination Classroom feels like it develops the class as a whole, while focusing time to time on individuals, Spy Classroom seems to focus on one girl at a time, and usually has an entire volume dedicated to developing one girl the most, with a little development of the other girls, but they just aren't the focus. Spy Classroom is also more tropey, in my opinion, and feels more heavily focused on plot development with one-off missions, unlike Assassination Classroom, which felt more comedy-driven and familial, to add to the impact of the ending. One random thing to note as well that I saw as a positive is that the relationships seem to focus more on familial love over intimacy love. So thankfully, I don't think we'll see Klaus have an escapade of women on his tail. As Klaus himself says, he isn't interested in that sort of thing, which confirms to me that the author doesn't want to take this kind of approach on the story for now, despite the original title of the light novel being The Spy Sweet Temptations. All the other students are beautiful girls, which suggests otherwise. The wiki goes as far as to say that Klaus experiences no romantic attraction and becomes oblivious to any such pursuits the girls try on him. So no need to worry about this series taking a nosedive into harem territory. Spy Classroom uses a particular writing style called Shin Honkaku. This basically means the main twist or mystery present at the end of the novel can be discovered through paying close attention to the clues left within the text by the author. This is also done through using a narrative device known as the unreliable narrator. This means the reader is given a limited or biased perspective to keep them from seeing the bigger picture. A great example of this being used is seen at the beginning of Higurashi When They Cry. Keiichi being the unreliable narrator in this example. He leaves the viewer to believe that everyone is out to get him, that there is a huge conspiracy going around surrounding Oyashiro-sama's curse. This deludes the reader to ignore the more obvious reason, that Keiichi in reality is extremely paranoid after contracting Hinamezawa syndrome.
Broward Sheriff's deputies arrest a man who they say has more pussy than he can handle.
Back on topic. The narration choice and writing style work together cleverly to hide the big twist at the end of Volume 1. Minor spoilers for Volume 1. This is due to not being able to avoid mentioning it if I want to talk about why it's done so well and helps captivate the reader. Volume 1 is majorly told from the perspective of a secret recording device located within the mansion they reside in. Throughout Volume 1, the girls are referred to by their hair colours and never by name, which was definitely quite annoying at the time as I kept getting the girls mixed up, which also makes it the perfect cover-up from allowing the reader to fully catch on to the trick, as the girls are also told to live as 7, even though there is really 8 girls in total. Una is kept a secret in order for Klaus's secret plan to overcome the impossible mission to work. It is important to note as well how outside of the house the girls are referred to more by their names than in the mansion, and also their abilities are not really mentioned as well inside the mansion. This gave the complete image that the girls were just a bunch of washouts that could do nothing at all, when in reality they had a secret talent. Everything is laid out between the lines for the reader to figure out if they paid close enough attention. I was left feeling pretty entertained by the entire ploy by the end of the novel. Non-spoiler now. While they take a break from doing anything really similar to this in Volume 2 and 3, although they are still great volumes alone, and really build upon character dynamics and flesh out Lamplight as a whole. Volume 4 also contains a great twist like in Volume 1, which can be figured out from the onset. It is overall the most action-packed and thrilling out of the volumes as well, which makes sense as it's the closing chapter on this arc of the story. Every volume follows a simplistic formula of having the girls usually complete a mission. I feel the strongest point about Spy Classroom is the focus on its characters. Each character usually gets one volume to flesh themselves out further. It really allows for me to get attached to the girls and make them working as a team a lot more believable, as we are supposed to trust the girls consider Lamplight their home. AKA, it is important to make sure the relationships with each other are fleshed out, which is done very well in the novels in my opinion, which I cannot really say about the anime. Now, I don't want to bash the anime completely and utterly, but experiencing this as someone who has read the light novels left me unsatisfied for many reasons. First off, the entire twist at the end in the anime ends up falling flat due to not being able to rely on the clever ploys using narration and the writing style used in the novels. They pretty much wipe out Una's existence completely and instead try and hide her in different frames of the anime.
散々な目にあったの。
As you can expect, this just doesn't have the same impact as in the light novel. The great start-up of Spy Classroom's beginning of Volume 1, where lots of mystery is built up around Lily's planned assassination of Klaus, is completely glossed over due to much inner dialogue being removed and many scenes being ignored. The impossible mission itself is literally faced in Episode 2, which means they skipped out on a bunch of training beforehand and development from the characters. And we are just supposed to believe that Klaus entrusts the entire mission to a group of washouts, as well as consider them family? I don't know about you, but that really escalated from 1 to 100. Not to mention the girls' futility and fear expressed in Episode 1 is just completely phased out by Episode 2, putting their full trust in their team and Klaus. Not to mention again a scene being changed within the anime compared to the light novel, where during the party before the impossible mission, which again I have no reason to believe Klaus would even allow due to the poor development we got, Klaus ends up joining the girls and basically finding comfort in the girls' presence, really showing their bond deepening on a familiar level in the light novel. Then you take a look at the anime and instead Klaus only acts as surveillance for the party, which you can imagine takes away from any build-up the anime tries to do afterwards towards their supposedly building relationship. This also results in the impossible mission having less suspense, less impact, and overall less enjoyment, as the thing we are supposed to feel any semblance of emotion for just ends. And sure, they do cover what happened before the impossible mission after the impossible mission is complete, but the problem with that is that any build-up done within those episodes, which is basically nearly the remainder of the anime, will have no payoff and ultimately fall flat in the end, as the big reveal is already done and the impossible mission they may die for is already over and we already know the conclusion. So pretty lame. Though with all that being said, I cannot lie and say I didn't enjoy anything the anime had to offer, as after all the impossible mission stuff, when they actually developed the missing parts, I found them quite enjoyable for what they were. Sure, I felt they lacked depth in many ways than one, but to see the characters I was reading about so eagerly come to life in some shape and form, in a respectable way to the actual characters, actually felt very good. So there was some merit to the anime, however, I couldn't recommend it over the light novel, because light novel just did it better, I guess. Also, for the love of God, who decided on what music to play in this damn anime? I have never watched an anime where the music just felt so out of place, and no matter how hard I tried to get into the story, the music just took me straight out again. Who thought playing generic, classic, detective-esque music was a good idea? And that's all I have to say on the series. It's a series I really enjoyed and thought got overshadowed during the time the anime season came out due to its poor adaptation. I wanted to let people know that, hey, the source material is actually pretty good and actually has some great thought put into it. And it isn't just a harem spy series with cute girls. It is actually in fact a shonen-esque spy series with cute girls.
不幸なの。